Hello, YouTube. It's been quite some time, about 4 years, I believe. Well, I'm here to start doing some vlogs, and you're wondering, what am I going to vlog about? I figured I'm going to vlog about my furry life because I just feel like sharing my story, whether one person hears it or nobody hears it at all. So, I'm going to go into different chapters, and each chapter I'm going to break down a year of my furry life. And, well, just a disclaimer, I might change some names of people who might not want to be mentioned, and I'm going to be using explicit language, and I'm going to try to keep it 100% authentic to my memory, to my recollection of events. So if one of my friends is seeing this and they're like, hey, that didn't happen that way, well, tut titties, man. I don't have the best memory. Actually, my long-term memory is actually way better than my short-term memory. And I'm here at the beautiful Rockaway Beach because I wanted a nice backdrop. I'm going to try to go to different places I like to chill, so you guys won't get bored of seeing my face. But anyway, let's get into it with Chapter 1, Welcome to F2F. My story begins in 2003. I was playing this game, I believe Marvel vs. Capcom 2 was the name. There was something that caught my eye, and it was a girl named Felicia. She was half feline. Now, Felicia is a character from Darkstalkers, and she's a cat girl. And let me tell you, I was playing that game, and, she got the booty, man. So, I'll be pausing the game and be like, man, checking out that booty. So, what happened was, I went online to look for pictures of said booty, and I found pictures of her, but I also found this weird art of these humans half animal hybrids. We're called furries or anthropomorphs, whatever you want to call it. And that was my gateway into the furry fandom. I remember I used to print these pictures out and I would keep them under my dresser. And one time my father found my stash. He found the Felicia artwork and a few other things that I'm not going to mention. But he found that I was embarrassed. So embarrassed. When you're 13, got a lot of hormones going on. So, parents don't understand what you're doing. But it's okay because he kept porn under my mattress, just so you know. So I don't know. I didn't mention it. I was nice enough not to mention it. But anyway, he found my stash, and I destroyed the pictures. Gone, shredded, forever. But eventually I did go back and find some more pictures, but I also really started enjoying the furry art. And then there was this website called VCL, which just stands for Vixen Controlled Library. And that was where I spent the next 2 years, just looking at art, appreciating it, if you catch my drift. And then eventually I just grew curious. I'm like, who are these furries? Like, what are they about? Like, I've probably seen some photos of fursuiters and cons, but at the time I wasn't really invested in that. But 2005 I was. So that year I was playing Halo 2 on the Xbox, the original Xbox. Halo 2, great game. So such a classic. And I decided I'm going to look up all these people that have Furry and Yiff and their gamer tag, and I want to befriend them so I can learn about the furry fandom. And I made the first guy I met. He didn't give me a lot of information. The second guy, I still know to this very day. His gamer tag was Yiffy Fox 69, triple X, mind you. And he's from Ohio. He's known as Ket today, but still a good friend of mine. He told me to go to this website called furrytofurry.com. And it was a furry forum where people spoke about different topics. They played games, they did role play, they shared stories, all this cool stuff. And when you go on the main page, this website doesn't exist anymore, so take my word for it. When you go on the main page, there's a guy in a fox costume just jerking off. Like, that's the first thing you see. So it was an adult website, and I was 15 at the time, 15 going on 16. I wasn't allowed there, but I was like, I'm going to join anyway because I want to learn about this stuff. And I decided to make a fursona. So when I was like 14, I had this dream. I was a wolf and I was mating with another wolf. I don't know how it happened. I don't know what inspired that dream, but that's what led me to my persona being a wolf. And then I got my name Frisky from this girl I met in like an AOL chat room. She used to call me Frisky. I don't know why. I don't know what kind of game I was spitting to her at like 14 years old, but that's what she called me. So I was like, you know what, Frisky sounds like a cool furry name. And to this day, I don't know a lot more Friskies. I think I know like 2 more. So it's weird that's not more common. So I made my persona a gray wolf. I got a picture off the internet, this cute wolf dog, and boom, I was a part of F2F. And I was looking for furries in New York City that I saw that I could meet them in person and learn more. And the first guy that messaged me, his name was Dream Wolf. I don't know what his username was, probably like Sayuyo. It was like a wolf with a wizard hat. He messaged me, and I agreed to meet him in person. Mind you, I'm still 15 years old. I never met anyone in person off the internet, and I carried a knife on me. I wasn't playing no games. The first time we were to meet up, I couldn't find him. Like, we met at Columbus Circle, I could not find him. So we tried again the following week, and then he said he was going to wear his wizard hat. He'd be like, hey, I'm wearing this hat. You know where to find me. And I find him, and we take a nice little walk around Times Square, because he lived by there. He was like 2 blocks away from Times Square. It was crazy. And he was so chill back then. He was like the most mellow guy. You would think he was like a pothead, but he wasn't even smoking back then. That's just what his personality was. He was just chill dude. And he was breaking down for furry fandom and how long he's been in the game. But he was kind of new like me in a way, because he's never been to any cons and stuff like that. So we were all on the same level. And I remember we went to Toys R Us. We looked at the plushies, and we saw this husky one. And he's like, man, you should get that husky. You should get that husky one, man. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to get that, because a lot of furries they like to collect stuffed animals. So I got that husky. And it's not with me anymore. It's with my ex. And I'm sure she's taking great care of it. Now, most of this year is furry forum stuff. Spent a lot of time online talking to different people. One of the most significant people on there was a fellow by the name of Kaz. He was from Canada, and he was also new, and he was 17 at the time. So we were both sneaking our way into the forums, breaking the rules, and it was cool. And we became friends, This was all new to us. But eventually, we started to do role play. Now, for those who don't know, role play is basically, it's like fan fiction. You type something out with someone, you create a story between you and someone else, or just by yourself. But this particular role play was me and him as our personas having sex. And full disclaimer, at the time, we were both straight. And so it's like, well, why are we doing this? I don't know. It's kind of fun. So we did that for a few times, and we kind of, just created this bond between us. And I was like talking to him every day. It was a good time. And that happened for a few more months. And then Christmas break came. I turned 16. And I found out he role played with someone else. Shocking, right? And you're probably thinking like, oh, what's the big deal? I don't know, man. Like, at that point, I never had like a real relationship with anyone. I never had a girlfriend or someone that I could be tight with on that level. And he was the first one that I was like, had genuine feelings for. And I was like, oh my God, I think I have like a crush on this guy. I'm like, I have a crush on a guy. I'm supposed to be straight. Like, what's happening to me? It was such a weird time in my life. And not only did he role play, but he role played with the guy for like hours, like 3 hours. I'm like, what? I was hurt, man. It's so funny to say it out loud right now, but I was hurt. And the guy, his name was Lost Fox at the time. Later, he became Ryan McKinney. And me and him are still good friends to this day. I visited him last year in Canada. But at the time, I was like, Fuck that guy, man. I was pissed. So, that's when I started writing songs. One of my first like real songs was about this guy Kaz and how I felt. And I was like, hey man, you're my favorite Canadian, like don't forget about me. But we were still friends, but it definitely wasn't close. After that, we weren't as tight as we were in the beginning. And it happens. That's the first of many connections I've made over the years that just kind of petered out. And it's nobody's fault. People change, people go different ways. I know Kaz is a good guy, and he meant no harm to me at all. So if he's watching this, I'm just saying, like, yo, you're still a very dope person, and I appreciate the time we had together. But on the forum, I still made friends. There was Bonius, who's Ryan the Kitty's mate currently. His husband, actually. It's crazy. I know those guys for so long, like 18 years. Bonius. There was Tyga. It was this guy from New Zealand. He was like super older and wiser. Who else? There was Lone. There was this girl named Misty. There was like Ivory Fox, Spinal. Like, I'm just trying to like think of all these weird usernames that haven't like come to my head in such a long time. Of course, Ruff. He was like a moderator. I think he knew I was underage, but he was like keeping it cool. But yeah, most of my time was just talking to these people on MSN Messenger. You guys remember MSN Messenger? I spent so many nights just talking, role playing, shooting the shit, because I didn't have a lot of friends in real life. Like, I was in high school, but I was always the quiet kid in the back of class writing rhymes or daydreaming. High school didn't really interest me like that, so most of my attention was going to this forum and learning about the furry culture and meeting these people and talking to them. I'm just trying to think of anyone else. Like, I don't want to leave anybody out. If I do, I'll just mention it in the next video. So I went to one fur meet. It wasn't like a real fur meet, but we thought it was. We kind of like crashed someone's house thinking it was a fur meet. Me and Dream, we went with this other furry named Foxwell. He was like in his 30s at the time. He was like a furry veteran, as I like to call him. He was making his first fursuit at the time, which is a fox coon. And this guy's house, man, he had so many stuffed animals and artwork of different cartoons and movies. This guy was an OG, man. He was like a real deal furry, bro. And of course, I flipped over one of the plushies and I see a giant hole in it. I was like, okay, people do that. I mean, people are into stuff, As long as it's not hurting anybody, it's cool. That same plushie, I swear I saw it in the Museum of Sex. Anyway, we went to this guy's house, and it was just basically a dude with a collar smoking cigarettes by the window, another guy playing God of War, and another dude like on the computer putting music on his iPod. It wasn't anything interesting, but that was my first like taste of what a fur meet was. I wasn't impressed, but later on we'll get to the better ones. So eventually, I believe summer of 06, I met this guy. His name was Alpha Fox. He's from the UK. He was 3 years older than me at 19. And we just had this weird connection. Had this weird bond. And I can't remember what we said. It was so long ago. But we were just on very friendly terms. And of course we role played. That was like the language back then. And eventually, I did something crazy. Like I told him, hey, you want to be my mate? And he's like, sure, let's be mates. So we were online mates. And this guy was so invested in our relationship. He was looking for apartments for me to eventually move in with him. Like me move to the UK. It was crazy. This guy was dedicated, man. He was a sweet, sweet person. And we would talk all night because of the time difference. I was going to summer school at the time, I would like cut class just to like talk to him and all this and that. Talk on Skype too. Oh man, like that was my summer, like '06. Just talking to Alpha Fox every day, and it was cool. But eventually, my grades were slipping. They were not doing so hot. I was not a good student, and my mother was starting to catch on. I mean, you know, our family has one computer. I'm on it like all the time, unless my cousin is on MySpace. I'm using the computer. So my mom is not stupid. Eventually, she gets like, why is Edwin on the computer all the time? So one day, I noticed these sticky notes by the computer, and they're like usernames from the furry forum, different usernames and the number of posts and all this different info when they joined, stuff like that. And I was like, I had to confront her about it. I'm like, hey, I found this stuff. Like, what are you doing? Are you spying on me? She's like, no, like, I just want to know why you're on the computer so much. Like I said, that was like my life. Like the first 2 years of the fandom, I was just on the computer. And I told her, like, listen, if you have any questions about it, just ask me. Just ask me. So fall starts to come, and my grades are still not doing so well. I remember at one point my mom took away my Wii. Or did I have the Wii yet? No, the Wii wasn't out yet. She took away my iPod. My iPod was my everything. And she was threatening to take away my computer. And I was like, oh no, if she takes away my computer, I'm not going to be able to talk to Alpha anymore. Like, this is crazy. So, you know what I did? I sat her down and I told her the truth. I told her that he was my online boyfriend from the UK. And you want to know what she said? You're going to have to see it next time in the next video, man. But, yeah, man, I hope people watch these vlogs and they come away with something, or they're at least entertained, or if they're friends of mine, maybe they'll find out something new about me or something they never expected to learn, or see a different point of view on a situation that happened. This is just like part 1 of part 10. It's a saga. But the next part is going to be a bit of a downer. That was a downer year. But I'm still going to try to keep it fun. Anyway, thank you for watching. It's the first day of summer, so go out and do something fun. Enjoy the sun. I'll talk to you later. Peace.